kind of do like a regular kind of water stroke versus an actual stroke that will give you more propulsion. Swimming aids, web gloves, I showed you these already. I'm not a fan of the 3-finger scuba mitt, and typically we don't take divers into colder water than the springs here. So they add 30 to 50% increase in propulsion for breaststroke swimming, so it's great. Exits from the water, you want to take the equipment off in the water. Start with the weight belt, the BCD, and the cylinder. Leave the mask and snorkel in place and exit the water. The in-water dive buddy positions the diver on their back, removes the belt, unfastens all straps, and assists on the platform. So it really is nice when you have two. A lot of times I'm just one person diving with somebody, and it's a lot harder when there's just one person. But in-water buddy moves the BCD away, positions the diver in upright position, drops under the water, grasps the legs, keeping them straight, and kicks with their fins. The assistant on the dive platform lifts and secures the diver onto the platform. So ideally, you do want to have somebody above and somebody below. Mobility impaired, unassisted exits from the diver, exit the water at the dive platform using their arms. Some are able to do that. It's pretty cool. I've seen it. An assistant can be on the dive platform and lifting them under their arms and pulling them onto the deck. In some cases, their legs may hang up if they don't have use of their legs, and so you need to have your in-water dive buddy assist with the legs. And some paraplegics and leg amputees can exit water without assistance. I've seen it. It's pretty cool. All right, final module, I believe. I'm going to zip through this because we already know. You guys know gas laws and decompression limits, right? Okay, good. So, right, I figured you did.
For this, yeah.
Right. So I am going to just talk a little bit about spinal cord injuries. Obviously, you want to be ultra conservative, right? There's going to be reduced circulation, and the spinal cord area of injury is considered scar tissue, and so it may cause differences in on-gassing and off-gassing. And so decompression sickness is more likely to occur in divers with spinal cord injuries that are pushing the limits of diving, okay? HSA has been training and diving people with spinal cord injuries since 1975, and they've never had a single incident of decompression sickness that they're aware of. So
I was just going to say, so you were pretty conservative, though. With your,
oh, yeah, I'm conservative with everybody,
yeah.
You know, but yeah, I'm going to be even, you know, yeah.
Would nitrox be preferred in situations?
Nitrox is preferred. Ronnie is a nitrox certified diver, and nitrox is definitely preferred because it reduces the likelihood of having decompression sickness. So obviously just dive conservatively and don't push the limits. All right, so that was dive activities is the last thing. Sun protection. Remember we talked about sunburn can cause hyperreflexia and ulceration, so you need to make sun protection part of your dive plan, including providing shade. And overheating may occur much faster for divers with spinal cord injuries and amputations. Not only is overheating a concern, getting cold is a real concern. In fact, it's a much more significant concern, in my opinion, because I think we're pretty well versed and only zip to the waist, and you know. But in the water, you have to really be aware and make sure that they let you know if they're. You know, if you see them shivering or anything, you just want to get them out of the water, okay? And then make sure they stay hydrated. It's even more important for people with disabilities to stay hydrated because if they're not properly hydrated, Ronnie, you can have bladder infections and drops in blood pressure, and it increases your likelihood of getting other diseases as well. So make sure that everybody has water at all times. You want to obviously prevent hypothermia as well. And so divers may not recognize the symptoms. So be aware and make hyperthermia protection part of the dive plan. Abrasions really are a much more common concern that I think people don't realize. You just need to protect anything, any skin. And so a dive skin alone may not be enough depending on the environment that you're diving in. Certainly you want to have boots on people and depending on where their disability is, gloves and the like. Getting scraped can be a serious, serious concern. Tissue injury prevention would include covering at-risk tissue with protective clothing and always having a padded area to sit on. So inspecting the pool, dive sites for hard and abrasive surfaces is important. And that's that. Let's move on to I think this is the final one. Accessibility considerations. Accessibility. A person using a wheelchair can, without assistance, conveniently access and use all available facilities. But, you know, things aren't perfect, unfortunately. And when I travel internationally, I find how good we have it here, you know, thanks to ADA in large part. Here are basic requirements for accessibility. Accessible parking. So disabled parking spaces are wider than normal spaces. A pet peeve of mine, and I've seen this when Ronnie and I travel together, is some idiot will park next to him because it's a wide space. And they don't realize, maybe they do, I don't think they realize that he needs that ramp to get his wheelchair. And it has to be wide in order for him to get his wheelchair. He wouldn't be able to get in his vehicle without one. So, and he drives a really nice, accessible van. Anyway, you want to make sure that people don't block any spaces. Walkways, they should be smooth, level, and they're the ideal widths. Ramps, the grade for a ramp is 5 degrees, and you want to make sure people don't get tipped over backward. Entryways, the ideal width is 32 inches. Most people with custom wheelchairs have either wider or narrower wheelchairs. Bigger people may have you guys been to the hospitals lately? They have massively huge wheelchairs. I think they're like for 500-pound people now. Seriously, I'm like, what is this? But they're becoming wider and wider. Entryways, you need to make sure that that pulling doors have a minimum space of 36 inches. Lever knobs, door openers are in place. Bathroom and toilet facilities need to be a turnaround area of 5 feet per 5 by 5. Okay, so the door needs to open out of the room, ideally to 90 degrees. The sink height, here's more information on bathroom, shower, and pool facilities. It's a requirement now for all public accessible pools to be fully accessible to wheelchairs. And then beach access. What's the width of the sand? Is it soft or hard? Can a wheelchair actually move along it? Soft sand is a barrier. That's why most state parks now have beach wheelchairs, and they're free on a first-come, first-served basis. You want to make sure that if you are diving somewhere, that the resort and hotel is accessible as well. And HSA has a lot of information where you can add to their database and talk about that. So beach and boat use, what to expect. Accessible dive boats, they don't exist largely. There are some that are accessible. I can tell you we've used different methods with people in wheelchairs. When I was volunteering in Cayman Brac with Dive Pirates, it was a weird thing, but that was their process. They had 2 people on either side of a wheelchair, and they lifted people by their wheelchair into the boat. That is not a normal, and it actually felt really unsafe. To me. I kind of said something to somebody else who also thought it looked unsafe because there was some unsteadiness on that wheelchair getting from the dock into the boat. Much better way would be to lift the person and bring their wheelchair separately and then get them on the boat. And in some cases, depending on the boat capacity, a wheelchair may not be possible. And so, you know, especially if you have multiple people in wheelchairs, and so you may need to just have somewhere to sit them and then leave the wheelchair on shore. So getting people into the water is different depending on the boat or the shore entry. So we used a really neat thing with one of the volunteer organizations. It was Dive Pirates, and it was it's a harness, but it's really different. You kind of twist it, and one person stays in the water and one person stays above, and you can very gently get somebody from the shore, from the water to the boat, and the boat to the water. Oh. That was nice. Now what we do at Panama City, the guys there are so good, and they just kind of carry people up the stairs. So almost done, Ed. So thank you. All right, sorry, we're running late. So okay. Here are some methods from over barriers. Stairs. Going downstairs in a wheelchair with assistance, the helper can get behind the wheelchair and pop a wheelie with the wheelchair to help. Facing the stairs, you can hold the backrest